Hi guys, welcome back to MK Sportscars. Today we're going to be talking about this, the Indy R with the Honda S2000 engine, which is to you guys maybe called the F20C. So we're going to go through a little bit of base specs on it, and then I'm going to send you out with a little test drive with Lewis and Joseph on the car. So this was factory built for us a couple of years ago, using some donor components that the customer supplied, hence the reason, because it's got more than one component, which is a donor, which is the engine and gearbox and diff. So the rest of it though is all brand new components. So bodywork really nicely done in the orange, and this has got a pretty low mileage F20C engine in there. These kick in around normally between 225 and 230 horsepower, so that's a good number. Rev to 9,000 RPM, and when that VTEC kicks in with this little solenoid down, just takes on a different personality. Got a nice big radiator, a 55mm core radiator. It's got an oil cooler on the front, so big brake kit. We've got the cross-drilled and grooved discs on here with the Willwood calipers. The 4-branch exhaust manifold was actually supplied by the customer because it actually fitted in a 7S car before, and we then fitted in a catalytic converter and joined it up. So it's completely road legal in terms of MOT spec, IVA spec. It was fully IVA'd a couple of years ago as well. Got the cage on here, the 50mm roll cage, if you're looking for something that's a bit more track focused as well. This will work awesomely for you guys. It's already set up, but if you're thinking I want to convert this back to a road car, this cage can actually come off and we can put on a standard rear roll bar for you as well. So both suitable for you, but that's an optional extra you can purchase if you wanted to. Cage, a lot of people like these though, especially this safety in mind with a bit of protection. We'll move around the back before we get to the interior. We've got nice carbon front and rear arches on this particular one. Shod in CXRs, wheels, complimented CXRs with Toyo R888 tyres, 205 rears and 185 front section tyres. You've got a full LED light pack on the back, which is rather spiffing. Proven solution, again, works really well. You know, from a point of view, it's a bit more modern than the traditional trailer lights that you see in a lot of cars. We tried to back that up, and in the back here we have nice clean back ends, all round tube chassis on this particular design. We've got our billet bearing carriers, fabricated uprights, brand new drive shafts, and it's got a 3.9 LSD in there as well, so that's ready to button up and go. Boot covers all in, again billet fuel cap on there. And when we move on to the interior here, we've got a nice simple but clean interior. GLP bucket seats, got the 6-speed gearbox, so used to sequential driver car. 6-speed gearbox on here, straight after the Honda S2000. You've got nice billet aluminium gauges and the ETB Digidash as well, and that gives you speed, oil temperatures, oil pressures, everything else that goes with it. This car is pretty much, it's done very low mileage actually, like hundreds of miles, not thousands, hundreds of miles since the owner had it. So it was built for him. He moved to Germany and he was in the army, and it's come back here because he can't get registered in Germany, but it's really good for UK use. So we're selling this here, but enough talk about the car. Let's head off to Lewis and Joseph, see how she goes on the road.
We chose a great time to go out on the drive. I mean, look around us, full of traffic, and someone has just pulled directly in front. How do you know you're in Braintree? And of course it was a Tiguan. Anyone that drives a Tiguan can't drive. That's not a generalisation, that is just the truth. So I'm going to have to do the classic cover the microphone with my hand technique, because the wind noise loves to interfere with my voice. If you can't tell from the sound of the car, this is powered by a Honda S2000 engine, the F20C. So anyone that knows anything about the old Honda engines knows this one likes to rev quite high. So hopefully we get a little chance to show that on the little drive out. And more traffic. I was optimistic about the weather wearing sunglasses, to be fair. It's not the sunniest of conditions right now. I mean, a ripe 4 PM on a Friday afternoon in England, never going to have the sun out. Not on a Friday. Maybe on like a Tuesday night when you're never going to go out. But now getting stuck behind a van is classic everyday procedure, so can't really show you how the car drives when you're stuck behind a van. It will come, it will come. Got a rather nice digital dash on this specific car, which is a bit different to your usual car engine like the old Mazdas. Means you get to see it hit 9,000 RPM. Yeah. Doesn't drive bad. I mean, from going relatively high speed, you're definitely going to want some braking power, so got the wheelwood brakes on here, which definitely don't miss on braking. If you're looking for a car to blast out in the summer, I mean, you're not really going to find much better than this. And if you're interested in the price, I'll put it up on the screen right there. If you're interested in going out on a test drive like I am, sitting in the passenger seat, then make sure to give us a phone call or an email and we can put you in for a factory visit and get you out in the car. To be honest, the first one to sit in the car is probably going to be driving it home. Sitting at what, 1700 RPM? Just sits there. I mean, obviously being a car engine, you're not got to rev the tits off it to get it to move, and it'll cruise in traffic pretty well. And judging by the fact that we decided to go and film a test drive at 4 PM, we're probably going to be putting that to the test. It's not going to be how fast the car is, it's going to be how well does it sit in traffic. Building an MK with a Honda S2000 engine in is something which is going to be rarer to see nowadays because of the extortionate price of buying an S2000, or even just the S2000 engine nowadays is absolutely ridiculous. The smiles per gallon you get out of this thing, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I've got to say, it's been a little minute since I've visited Mexico since the old last test drive video. Roads are as good as ever, must say. Back in the car after Joe gave you a little bit of a idea of what the car can do. Get some nice flybys for you. I mean, there's only so much that you can show on the roads. Obviously, you don't want to go completely flat out, just in case someone in a Vauxhall Insignia comes the other way. But if you wanted to take it round a little track day, it's not a car to run around the race series, but if you want to take it out on an individual track day and show up some of your friends that think they have fast cars, this is pretty ideal. You'll probably humble them quite quickly. Mister, I have my stage 2 Golf R and I'm a race car driver.
You really helped me to get past that.
I think they think we're in a digger.
There's bit you parking to.
Come on, what are you doing, man? I have to say, from standing outside the car, it does sound really nice as it comes past you. It's sort of, it's different to your standard sort of S2000 noise, because obviously you've got an exhaust which goes all the way through the normal car. It's really quite throaty with a side exit exhaust on it. So this car was actually built over in 2022. And ever since it has been built, it's only had about 900 miles put on it. That's after this test drive video too. So it really is pretty much a brand new car. So you cannot really go wrong. If you're looking for a car to go on sort of a cruise out with, maybe some of your friends own similar cars, or they've just got nice cars that you want to sort of get along with them on a little road trip as well, this is probably quite a good car for you. I mean, being the fact that the engine is from an S2000, you're probably looking at relatively decent MPG, to be fair. I mean, that's not really a main concern in cars like this. You should not really be buying a car and worrying about how much fuel in it, because miles per gallon, as previously mentioned, is way more important. But having to plan road trips around where petrol stations are going to be can be a bit of a headache at times. So it's a nice little hybrid in between times. It's going to eat through some fuel when you really want to go through some gears, but if you're cruising at relatively low RPMs, you're generally going to be alright. And with a 33 litre fuel tank, you've got enough fuel to see you through a relatively long journey anyway. So I mean, the most you're going to use is really like a couple of tanks of fuel. And in terms of like comfort, to be fair, I mean, I've had a few friends which have had S2000s in the past, and I've never driven one of their cars, but I've sat in the passenger seat, and obviously I'm not driving right now, I'm also sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm more comfortable in here than I have been in an S2000. Purely, it's usually roof space in the S2000. They're quite tight for room, especially if you're tall. And in here, I mean, I've got plenty of room to stretch my legs. I don't know how well you can see, but I'm pretty comfortable in here. And I mean, in terms of safety, you've got a massive roll cage around your head, so there's not overly much to be concerned about. It's hard to find a car which is safer, because I mean, nowadays a lot of cars, you get into an accident and they crumple like a tin can, so this definitely will not do that. I mean, for those of you which know about Honda engines as well, you'll know that VTEC is really quite enjoyable for a naturally aspirated engine. I mean, as far as naturally aspirated engine goes, you usually have quite a linear curve, obviously just with no forced induction, so you don't really have to worry about there being a massive kick up the arse from a turbocharger or a supercharger sort of thing. But with VTEC in this specific car, kicking in around 4.5, it's not too audible as it is on some of the VTEC engines like V18s and some K20s which have a decent exhaust system on them. But I mean, it's definitely not shy of a few horsepower. It pulls really well, so it must be working. But put it this way, you're not going to be hitting VTEC at this sort of RPM. I mean, heading back into the factory now, you can get a little bit of what this car's capable of. I mean, there's not overly much that we can show you on the roads we have on tap round here, but if you want to test the car to your own limits, then you know what you have to do. Come down, purchase the car and drive it home. Put it this way, sitting in the car, you're not going to be disappointed.
Right, hope that's give you a really good insight into the Indy R S2000, a walk around and an onboard video with the guys. But if you want to know more information about this car, you want to come and see it at the factory, or you feel like sitting in that seat there, you know what you need to do. Hook us up, phone call, email, or come and see us at the factory and we can give you more information. That's it for this time, guys. We'll see you next time.